What is up, guys? It's Solid Nate, and you're watching Captain Algebra.
Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here, and I'm here with my pickups from June 2020. We're gonna get started right away because this is another big month. I don't know if you guys follow Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter, but you should. Talks about great deals that you can find through GameStop, Amazon, Best Buy, all sorts of different things. So I bought a bunch of PS4 stuff because of that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, it's great because I'm making good deals. It's bad because I'm spending a lot of money. But first, let's get to some gifts I was given. First, my buddy John Brown, the Bandana Gamer, sent me some stuff. First, got a nice Bandana Gamer dust sleeve. Unfortunately, I can't put DuckTales in there, Jonathan, but you know, I already have it complete in box, so it's sitting in its box. But I figure you're a Disney fan, so Chippendale, that'd be good, right? And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you already saw this. He sent me Wonder Boy in Monsterland. So this is a game that I almost picked up last month, but it was way overpriced for only box and game, no manual, and it was pretty beat up. So he saw that, sent it to me. This was really cool. This is a really fun action platformer. It's tough though. The platforming is very precise, so like sometimes you have to be right on the edge of a platform in order to jump to make the next one. Otherwise you fall into a pit, which is very annoying. But then he's decided to sell off his Master System collection, and he knew I'm getting into the Master System, so he's like, oh hey, I got these games, if you're interested, before I put them on eBay. I'm like, yeah. So I looked at his list and I grabbed every game that I did not already have. Most of them are complete. Some are missing the manual, but that's no big deal. First one, I got the box for Space Harrier. I got the loose cart back from Video Games Monthly a couple months ago, so I wanted the box version. Next, Ghostbusters. So this plays just like the NES Ghostbusters, but it looks a little bit nicer. I've never minded this game. I haven't tried the stair level at all, but I heard that's pretty tough. I look forward to trying that. Next one, no gameplay for because it is a 3D game, and that's Zaxxon 3D. And this is just a shooter and stuff. It looks pretty cool from what when I popped it in, but obviously I can't tell what everything is because I don't have the 3D glasses. Next we got a racing game, World Grand Prix. This is pretty fun. It's a basic racing game, but I liked the little bit I played of it. Next one I was really excited for, R-Type. This is complete. I've never really played the R-Type games. I have Super R-Type for the Super Nintendo. I got the R-Type collection on PS4 from, I think, Strictly Limited. But I've never really been into the R-Type games, and I love shooters. So I figured it's about time to try these out. So why not start with the Master System game? Next one, and I love the cover art. Finally, something that looks good on the Master System. Rampage. So I love that red on it. But what's really cool about this is you can actually play with Ralph, George, and Lizzie, whereas in the NES one, I believe, is it Ralph that's missing? Either Ralph or Lizzie, I can't remember, so that kind of sucks. But it's just like the NES game, it's Rampage. Go around, destroying buildings, moving on. Hopefully it's not as long as the NES game. I know Eugene Myers just streamed that a while ago, and he played the whole thing, but man, that's a long game. And last one, Pro Wrestling. This seemed like a pretty solid pro wrestling game. You got different characters you can be, and they each have different move sets, which is cool, and it all goes into detail in the manual. So I thought that was pretty sweet. I like the look of it. Looks a lot better than a lot of NES wrestling games. Next, my buddy Joe Zayas. I believe I said that right. Zayas. Sorry, Joe, for butchering your name. He makes a lot of hacks and stuff for a lot of members of the community. I know J Love, Megadan, T-Belly. Other people have gotten hacks from him, which is really cool, but he said he felt bad because he never sent me any hacks, but I'm not really into hacks. I like playing actual, like, real games and stuff that weren't, like, changed. So he felt bad, so he sent me some stuff, which is really cool. First one on the Wii, Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest. So this one I haven't played much, but I believe when you started it, you were playing as somebody else, but I think you eventually play as Aragorn, and it takes place, I believe, after Lord of the Rings. I could be wrong though. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but that was pretty cool. He also sent me Turok 2 on the N64, which I did already have, but no biggie. But some of the cool games he sent me, well, that one's cool too, but some of those I was really excited for. First on PS4, Neuroavoider. So this is a twin-stick shooter RPG. So you start by picking what like ship you want to be, what a droid or something like that, and they all have different attributes. And then pick a bonus thing you can have, like extra health or being able to dash and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I do like twin stick shooters, and that's pretty cool. It came with the card from Limited Run, has a manual and everything. Pretty sweet. The next two are awesome. So they are Super Famicom games that did not come out in America, but put on an SNES cart, which is really cool. First one, Super Back to the Future 2. This is a really fun platforming game. It looks beautiful. I really wish we got it over here. But now I finally know where Back in the Day Gamers intro comes from. I never knew it was from this, but really enjoying this one. This one I'm going to probably have to stream sometime soon. And the next one I had never heard of, but I'm blown away by it, and that's Rendering Ranger. So this is a run and gun shooter, very similar to Contra. You can get upgrades and stuff, big cool bosses, cool explosions. But what was really interesting when I looked this up when I got it, and it is actually like the most sought after Super Famicom version. Looked it up, and it was like $700 loose for a cart. And you know, Super Famicom games tend to be a lot cheaper than their North American counterparts. Now, granted, this one never got a release in the United States or North America, but it was really cool. This one's definitely going to have to be streamed. I believe it has a password feature because I did hear it is pretty difficult, but very, very cool. So I just want to say a big thank you to Joe. That's awesome. He sent this stuff to me. I look forward to playing all of them. Next up, I had to go pick something up for my buddy Megadan, and he had some games lying around here. You need any of these? And there are a few of them. So first, on the Xbox 360, we got Dead Rising and Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. So this is a zombie apocalypse game. You play as a reporter or a photographer, and you go to this town, and you're trying to figure out what's going on and stuff, what's happening in this town. And it's a little confusing at first. When I first popped in the first game, I had no clue what I was doing. Like, I started out, and then I was skipping the cutscenes just to get the screen capture and get through the game quickly. And I should have paid attention because I was supposed to go to this one end of the building, and I didn't. And so I was like running around trying to figure out what to do. But seems like pretty fun games. Definitely want to get into it. Next on the Xbox, Psyops. So this is fun third-person shooter. I think it was third person, but basically what's really cool is forgot everything that happened to you. So you didn't know you had these abilities, and you have pyrokinesis, telekinesis, and mind drain, all these really cool things that you can do with your psi powers. And so you get broken out of this, I think, prison, and then it starts coming back to you that you have these powers and stuff, and it seems pretty cool. I feel like I've heard of the game, but I never played it, but it's cool to get in the collection. And last one that I'm really excited to get, Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick. So this is a really fun game. You play as Ash, obviously. I've never actually seen the Evil Dead movies, but you go around as Ash, you get different weapons. What's cool is when you lock on, you can either, like, sometimes you shoot over your shoulder, sometimes you shoot right at the guys. You get different weapons. You get melee weapons as well as your shotguns. You do eventually get your chainsaw, but really like that one so far. Definitely going to have to play through that soon. So those are all the gifts. So again, thanks Megadan, Bandana Gamer, and Joe Zayas. I really appreciate all that. Next, we're going to start with a Genesis case and manual for a game I thought I had. I really screwed up. Could have sworn I had this game loose, and I just needed the box and manual. So I bought it for a good price, and nope, don't have the game. So I'm going to get that eventually. And that's Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So I want to eventually have my entire Genesis collection complete in box. But I have quite a few loose games from my childhood that I haven't got yet. So I was figured, oh, let's start here. I found a good deal, and nope. So if anyone has a copy they want to sell me, let me know, because I would love to have it. All right, speaking of Megadan 69, I mean Megadan 29. Actually went to a store with him in Illinois called Game Corner. It actually used to be multiple places. There used to be one in my town, but the guy sold it, and now there's just the one left. And we just went there just to look at games because, with the whole quarantine, I was really itching to buy some retro games and go game hunting, and so that was cool. So we spent a couple hours there looking, and I got quite a bit of stuff. I traded in a bunch of doubles that I had. The first one on the GBA, Monster House. So I heard this is a fun game from, I believe, Mike Tendo. First time I heard it, he said, it's a really underrated game, and it's pretty fun. Only played it a little bit, but it seems like an action-adventure type game. You're going through this house that's trying to eat you and stuff, and you use like flashlights and water guns to defeat things. It's interesting, but I like it so far. Then a bunch of Game Boy games, because I love the Game Boy, and it's such an underrated console. First one, Solar Striker. So this was a game I'd heard a lot about. It's a shooter, pretty basic. It looks like you get a couple power-ups, but not much more. But for the Game Boy, I think it's pretty solid. It's a vertical scrolling shooter. I don't know if that changes later on. I've only played like the first 2 levels. But it's been one I wanted for a while, so I had to try it out. Next one, Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. So this plays just like the NES game, just obviously on the Game Boy. But it seems like the levels are just like the Game Boy or the NES game. So solid controls. It's a lot of fun. So I was glad to finally add that to the collection. Next, The Jungle Book. So back in this era, Disney games are usually pretty good. This I remember the first time I was playing it, I got stuck. There's this jump you're supposed to make, and I could not figure out how to do it. And then I finally figured out how you could run and jump. So that helped, but it seems like an okay game. Graphics aren't great, but figured, it was cheap, try it out. Next one, Aladdin. So what's interesting about this is it's on a Nintendo cart, obviously, but it plays like the Genesis Aladdin game. It doesn't play like the Super Nintendo Aladdin game. So you still have your sword, you got your apples and stuff. It seems a lot harder than the Genesis version. It doesn't seem like there's as much health laying around. It seems like it's easier to get hit. But at first, when I first played the game, I was only throwing my apples. I didn't know I had a sword, but I didn't know how to use it. I think you have to hit select, and it switches back and forth between the two, which is kind of annoying because some enemies are easier dealt with apples versus with the sword. But by the time you have to switch and then you can attack, sometimes they're already throwing stuff at you, and that gets kind of annoying. Next one, Micro Machines. It's a fun little racer. Very, very slippery though. Like you can probably see in the game cap. Like you're just sliding around. Like there's no map either, so you really just have to memorize the tracks when the turns are coming up. I played the first couple levels. First one was a boat race, which was just kind of qualifying. Then you had a off-road race, and then no problem really with those. Third one was sports cars, and I fell off the edge multiple times because you're racing on a table since you're Micro Machines, but it seemed like pretty fun. Glad to get it. Next one, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This one I really like the sprite work, but it's very confusing on where to go. I think you have to collect something each level and then find your way out. And I still have yet to complete the first level. And there's a boss meter at the bottom, so I'm assuming there's a boss in that level, but I just haven't been able to find it. Next, I just grabbed because it sounded fun. Alfred Chicken. So it's kind of weird. You play as a chicken and you're collecting like these stars and stuff. I'm not really sure exactly what you need to do, but it's in really good shape. And I'd heard of Alfred Chicken before, but I really didn't know what it was about, so thought I'd try it out. Next one, Mickey's Dangerous Chase. I actually already beat this. It's a very easy game. It plays a lot like Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers on the NES, so it makes sense. It's by Capcom, just like them. You go around as Mickey or Minnie, and you pick up boxes to kill enemies. You collect stars. And when you get to, I believe, 50 or 100 stars, you get an extra life. And there's boss fights along the way. Some of the platforming gets kind of annoying. But overall, it's pretty fun. One of the last levels, it's an auto-scrolling, vertical scrolling level, and what really sucks is there are some dead ends, and you don't know that, you're just going, you have to pick and choose, okay, I'm going to go left this time, and there you go, you end up at a dead end, and you die. So a little bit of just kind of guessing and figure out which way to go, which is annoying, but overall, it's a pretty fun game. It's cheap, and it's a fun game, so if it's an easy beat, so want an easy beat for a Game Boy, grab it. Last Game Boy game I picked up was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So this follows the story of the movie. Acme, I think it's Acme. Acme gets killed, and you need to find what happened to his will and deed and stuff. So you have to go find Jessica Rabbit, but she was kidnapped and stuff, and it's pretty fun. You got to go around talking to people, get clues and stuff. So it's very similar in that way to the NES game, but this one doesn't seem as difficult or hard to figure out. I was pretty easily able to figure out what to do pretty quickly when I played the game. Those are all the Game Boy games. Next up, we got some Xbox and Xbox 360 games. First one on the 360, GoldenEye 007 Reloaded. So it wasn't until recently that I actually heard about this game. So basically, they took GoldenEye and they redid it. So it's not like the levels are exactly like the N64 game, and then they just revamped graphics and stuff. Like, there are some differences. I played through the first level, and obviously it's very similar to the N64 game. You can see where it looks like that game, how some of the buildings and stuff. But at the end, you don't bungee jump. You actually jump out with a parachute and stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. It looks fantastic. Now, you guys know I don't care about graphics. How a game looks matters nothing, nothing at all to me. But it's just, it's cool to get. Next was a game I've been wanting for a while because I have the first one on the PS2, but got this for the Xbox. The Suffering Ties That Bind. This is a pretty good horror game. So basically, you were put in prison in the first one because I think something happened to your wife. But I'm pretty sure, you're innocent. And you were kind of framed by this monster or something. So like you're in prison and all hell starts to break loose again. And what's really cool is you do get to change into this like mutant at one point throughout the game, and you get pretty badass doing that. But fun game. I really need to play the first one now. Next, picked up a Sega Genesis game, Sword of Vermillion. Now it is missing the manual and the hint book, but I am watching for that on eBay right now. But it's an RPG. But what's really cool is it plays like your typical top-down RPG of the era. Gotta talk to NPCs, figure out what to do, get armor, weapons, and stuff. And you go out into the world and explore. But then when you get into an encounter, it becomes an action RPG. It's not turn-based, so you go into this little area and you have to kill them. But you can also run away by just walking to the edge of the map. So, and it's cool. You know what you're going to fight, but you don't know how many. So sometimes you'll only fight 2 of an enemy. Sometimes there's going to be 8 of them. And some are more aggressive than others. Some go right at you. Other ones are kind of avoiding you, which makes it easier to kill. But it seems pretty fun so far. Like I said, I got to get that hint book and manual. So I'll be looking for that soon. And then finally, a couple PS2 games. First one, Serious Sam Next Encounter. So this is a first-person shooter that I've heard about for a while, but I saw Retro Mikey play the HD versions on the 360, I believe, and they looked like a lot of fun. It's just you get some crazy weapons, and it's a lot of fun. Tons of levels, huge arsenal of weapons. So I was really excited to find that. And then finally, for the PS2, Ultimate Spider-Man Limited Edition. So I picked it up just because I've never seen the limited edition before, and it was a pretty good price. I don't love the graphics of the game. I mean, graphics don't really matter, but I still don't like how it looks. It's got Venom in it, and I love Venom. He's probably one of my favorite villains in Spider-Man. But looking forward to trying this out. The web mechanics seem pretty solid. Like swinging through the city was pretty easy, which I like. Some of the old Spider-Man games, the controls were kind of screwed up. Next, I got a couple 360 games that I got a lot off eBay, because there was one game in particular I was looking for, and this had it in there, and it was for a pretty good price. And so the other 3 games are kind of meh, but the last one is pretty awesome. First one, we got Fable The Journey for the Kinect. I don't have my Kinect hooked up, so no game capture for that one, but I like Fable games. Then we've got Final Fantasy 13. You guys know I'm not a huge Final Fantasy person. I haven't actually played any of the games, but like I said, it was in the bundle. It looks great. I played it twice, once to just test it out, the second time to actually get the screen cap. I was actually kind of enjoying it, so maybe I can get into some Final Fantasy games. We'll see. Next one is called Cameo Elements of Power. This is just an adventure game where you play as Cameo, and you can morph into these different creatures that all do different things. One can go underground and then pop up to hit enemies. One can roll into a ball and get you like through little tubes and also up ramps and stuff. Nothing special, but it was all so I can get this next game, Alan Wake. If you follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, you know that I've already beaten this game. It was a game I've been wanting for a while, and I never came across it. And then I just recently played Control on PS4, and I found out that through Musty Hobbit that Remedy, who made Control, also made Alan Wake. And I kind of figured, because in Control there's some Easter eggs talking about Alan Wake and stuff. I'm like, oh, I really got to play the game now. So picked it up, played it through, and absolutely loved it. It's an adventure game where your wife goes missing when you go to this town of Bright Falls, and really weird things are happening, but basically you have to escape this darkness. But what's cool is I love the mechanic of you have to hit the darkness with light first, and then you can kill the enemies. And so you've got this flashlight, and you have to keep equipping batteries, especially when you are focusing the beam on them, because it goes through batteries faster. You can get stronger flashlights as you go. I think there's 3 total flashlights you can get. Tons of different weapons, like flare guns are obviously huge help because they're so bright, and they basically just kill enemies like that. Some fun boss fights, really interesting. I'm really excited. I believe there's supposed to be 2 DLCs for Control, and one of them they believe is going to be linked to Alan Wake. So I'm really excited for that. And we haven't even got to PS4 yet. Next, we're going to talk about some Switch games. First one, I believe, This was Amazon. I don't remember the exact deal they were having, but I ended up buying 4 games. Maybe, I don't know. I think you had to buy 4 games, and I don't remember what the deal was. But I got Lego Incredibles. Big fan of the Lego games. They're always fun. I was recently talking to my wife tonight about like, hey, we should play the Lego games together. I think she'd enjoy it. The one weird thing about this game is the volume is really low. Like, I'll put any other Switch game in, and it's fine. I'll put this game and it's really low. I even have the volume all turned up in the options in this game. So it's really weird. I don't know why. If all copies are like this, or if I just got a weird copy, but it seems pretty fun. Next one was a part of a Target buy 2 get 1 free deal. This was a Switch game I've wanted for a while, but you guys know Switch games do not drop in price very often. So I figured finally, by doing a buy 2 get 1 free, I'm actually getting it for cheaper than full price. So I had to grab it. That's Astral Train. I love when Nintendo comes out with new IPs because they really have a lot of good IPs that have been around for a while, but then, you know, they've got some that they just don't really make new games for very often, like Punch-Out or like the Metroid games. So when they came out with a new IP, like this looked pretty cool. So you play as either a male or female character, their brother and sister, and you have this, I believe, a Legion that you can bring out and it can attack, or you can use it to circle an enemy, and then it comes wrapped in the chain and stuff. Seems really, really cool. I've heard, though, it kind of gets repetitive as you play it, but it's one I've wanted for a while. And next one is something I got from Limited Run Games that I believe I placed this order back in October with 3 games, but this one was a pre-order, so as you know with Limited Run, if you order a big order, it doesn't get shipped until the last game is ready, instead of like shipping multiple times. But this is Battle Princess Madeline Royal Edition. So this actually plays like Ghosts and Goblins. Yep, I know I don't like Ghosts and Goblins, but this plays a lot more like Super Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghouls and Ghosts. But you play as Madeline, you can only get hit twice. When you hit, you lose your armor and then you die. But you start right off where you die, and you've got a certain amount of lives. But just like in Ghouls and Ghosts and stuff, you got a bunch of different weapons you can get. Really cool artwork. Originally heard about this from, I believe, J-Love, either J-Love or Megadan. And obviously they bought it digitally for the Switch. And I'm like, I'm going to hold out just in case. And once it came on Limited Run, I'm like, yep, I'm going to grab it. Found out later that there actually was a PS4 version. I just must have missed it. Otherwise, I would have gladly got that over the Switch. But really glad to have this in the collection. All right, finally onto the PS4. Hope you guys are ready. First stack all came from GameStop. They've had a bunch of like buy 2, get 1 free deals, or if you buy multiple pre-owned games of $19.99 and under, you get a percentage off. You know, 1 game or 2 games 20%, 3 games 30%, etc. And so I went all out, and I got pretty lucky. Only one of the games didn't have full artwork, and that is Attack on Titan. So I believe this is a manga. I could be wrong, so don't kill me in the comments. But it just looked like a really cool game. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the artwork, but hopefully I can find that pretty easily. But it's got pretty cool mechanics. Is you have these anchors that you can latch on, and you have to kill these titans, and you can like latch on to different body parts of the titans, and then go in for the hit. You can change the body parts, but it's kind of tough to control at first. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. But it seemed pretty cool. Next one, another Lego game, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So I was a big fan of the first one. I have it on 360. 100% I got all the achievements for it. I loved it, so I figured finally had to get part 2. It's cool, you know, it's got different characters that weren't in that original one, like Guardians of the Galaxy. You actually start with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is pretty cool. Next, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I've heard great things about the Tomb Raider reboot. I believe I've got Tomb Raider on the 360, and now I've got this one. And I think, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, is that the last one? I've heard great things. I think someone said this was the best of the 3. It's a gorgeous game. I mean, like I said, I don't care about graphics, but sometimes when a game wows you, it's pretty cool. So I look forward. I do want to go back and play the original Tomb Raider games first. I know they're kind of rough to play these days, but I do want to try it. Next, we got a VR game, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. So this is kind of cool where the Nazis have all these different like bots, and your group keeps finding some and hacking them. And that part's kind of annoying because they bring you into this chamber and you need to hack the droid, and it's just the way the controls are, sometimes it's hard to make it do what you want to do. But it's cool. The first mission is you're in a Panzerhound. You can breathe fire and lunge at enemies. The next one you're in a drone, so you don't have the offensive abilities as the Panzerhound, but you can sneak around, and then when you electrify these enemies, it like disintegrates them. It's pretty cool. I heard it's a short game too, so maybe it'll be one I play through soon. Next one, Dark Souls 3. had to finally get this. I believe I have Dark Souls 1 or 2 on the 360, and there are games I want to eventually get through. I was playing through the original one, maybe 4 years ago, and I think we moved and I never went back to it. So this gave me a good reason to actually go back now that I have multiple games in the series. Next, World War Z. This one always looked really cool. I love zombie games. This one's pretty intense. It is online, but you can also play offline. You can play up to 4 players, which is pretty cool. But you can be different characters. You can change your class, so sometimes you're better with heavy weapons. Other times you're more of a medic. It just depends on what you want to do. But it's pretty crazy. Like the first level, like there's just swarms of zombies. And last one, Adventure Time: Pirates of the Enchiridion? I don't know. So I've heard actually pretty good things about Adventure Time games. I never picked them up, so with this deal, I'm like, yeah, I'll try it out. Didn't know it was an RPG, so that's kind of annoying, but it seems pretty fun. It's kind of cool. There are also these interrogation scenes to get information out of some people. And what's cool is you can pick where you want to be, good cop or bad cop, and it does kind of give you hints on which one's going to work on the person you're interrogating. So I really like that. So those are all my GameStop deals, and pretty solid games there. Next one was a game that dropped in price quickly, and it just looked awesome. And actually, it was talked about on the Super Enabler Bros. If you want to check that out, with Chris Pico and Jason of Corpseful Gaming, and I was on the recent a guest on that. Was pretty cool. That's Maneater. So you play as a shark, and you're caught by a hunter, but your magic is to escape. And then you eat and do missions, and then you grow, and you can get different attributes. I think Pico said you can get different armors. So he did a bone armor, which looks pretty cool. It's actually on the back of the box, and this game looks awesome. So heard really good things about it. Definitely want to get into it soon. Next, from Cheap Ass Gamer, Best Buy was having a bunch of games on sale for $7.99, so I had to jump on it. First one was Tempest 4000. I messed up on this one. I thought it was a game that Chris Pico said was really good. It ends up not being very good. I guess it's an old arcade game, and they kind of change and update the graphics. Basically, you're on this little track, and these enemies are coming towards you. It looks kind of cool, but I don't know, it's kind of annoying to play. Next, another VR game, Operation Worcade. So this is really cool. It's like you're in an arcade and you're playing this machine, that's got like a gun and stuff, and it's a on-rail shooter, and you're just looking, you see all these enemies. They're really tiny. Some tanks you had to blow up, some trucks, but then there's different power-ups you can get. Sometimes you can get two guns instead of just one. There's also some special rounds you can go to if you shoot the right thing during a mission, and it goes to like a quick bonus round where maybe you got to throw knives at your enemies, or maybe you're on in an aircraft and you got to blow things up. It's really, really cool. And the next pretty kind of cool platformer, and that's Max: Curse of Brotherhood. So you play as Max, and your brother gets sucked in by this really crazy looking monster, and so you go after him. And you're chasing him, and this monster ends up chasing you. But then you end up in this tree, and this lady gives you this magic marker. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to build platforms in certain areas, but then you can also destroy platforms, and you kind of need to use that in order to traverse the levels. I figured for $8, that seems pretty cool. Of where I got them, this first one might be part of the buy two get one free, or was part of the Amazon deals. I don't remember. And that's Medieval. It was for a good deal. When I played the demo for this remaster, I wasn't blown away. It didn't seem to play very well. But then when I popped this in, I'm like, it actually seems pretty good. And I love the original series on PS1, so I want to try it out. And somebody will play through that soon. Next, Bendy and the Ink Machine. This is a game I've wanted for a while, but for some reason, I thought it was similar to Binding of Isaac, and I really didn't like that game. But this is kind of cool. So what happens is you're a lead animator, and you receive a mysterious invitation from someone you used to work with to come back and see what's going on. And you get there and you can't find anybody. There's all these figures and cardboard standees of Bendy, and you find this ink machine and all these notes about what's happening. And all of a sudden it turns into kind of almost like a survival horror, because I believe the ink machine helped create Bendy, and the different characters actually come alive, and so you're trying to escape them. But it's pretty cool. And the last one, Code Vein. So this I just picked up in one of the deals just because it looked kind of cool. I could have sworn I've heard good things. Maybe it was from Church the Game Grinder. but it's kind of like action RPG-ish. You can modify your character, what they look like, and you can get different classes that change how you attack enemies and stuff, and what weapons you can hold. Pretty cool so far. I gotta actually play it a little bit, but it looks really cool. Alright, last 2 stacks. We're almost done. I promise you. Thanks for staying with me. First one was part of the Target buy 2 get 1 free, and that's Ukelele and the Impossible Layer. So I heard this was a 2D side-scrolling game, and that seemed more fun than the original Ukelele, which was a 3D action platform, which didn't really get that great of reviews. This seems like a lot of fun. I know Jonathan Brown, the Bandana Gamer, recently said it was better than Donkey Kong Country Returns, which Donkey Kong Country Returns wasn't that great. I didn't think so, but it's pretty cool. Obviously it's 2D levels, but then like the hub world is 3D, and you have to do things, go to different chapters to save some bees, so you can get through the impossible layer because they kind of protect you. So pretty cool. And the next one started off as a GameStop deal. I believe I got the first one for $4.99 from GameStop, and that's Darksiders 3. But then I was like, well, if I've got Darksiders 3, I probably need Darksiders 1 and 2. And then I believe it was one of the Amazon deals, maybe or Target buy 2 get 1 free. I was like, well, I should probably complete the quadrilogy and get Darksiders Genesis. So the original 3 play as like hack and slash, very similar to God of War, but you play as the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And the first one you play as War. I don't know what you play in 2 and 3. I can't remember. But it's really, really cool. Basically, like heaven and hell are held together by these creatures, and when something goes wrong, the Horsemen come in, and something went wrong, and they believe that War messed up by going in to fight. And so yeah, you kind of have to go through and figure out what's happening. The Darksiders Genesis is more of like Diablo. It's top-down, exploring, and this, I believe, is a prequel to the Darksiders games, because you start as Strife, which wasn't in the other games, I don't believe, but you also have the option of playing as War, and I believe after the first Darksiders, War goes missing, so pretty excited to try those. So thank you, Chris Pico, you're the one who got me interested in those. Last ones. First one was part of the limited run set that I got with Battle Princess Madeline, and that's Star Wars Racer Revenge. Now, I got this when Limited Run was doing other Star Wars games, not knowing that this was a PS2 game. I thought this was like just a new Star Wars racing game. Like, that looks awesome. But did find out it's from the PS2, and what's kind of cool is actually when you finish a race and it goes to save, it actually brings up the PS2 save screen, which I thought was pretty funny. But it seems a lot smoother than the original game, but I never really heard much about it for some reason. And the next game is actually another one from Limited Runs that came with that Battle Princess Madeline, the third game, and that is Stranger Things 3, the game. This is really cool. So you get the regular version, but I was like, I love the NES box you get. It comes with a soundtrack. It comes in an NES cart, which is really cool. Also comes with another box art that you can put in there, which is pretty cool. But this is an action RPG. It follows the third season of the show pretty much exactly. Each chapter in the game, I think, corresponds to an episode of the show. It's pretty cool. You meet all the characters as you go, and they all have different ways of attacking. Some people just like punch or kick. Some people use a baseball bat. 11 uses their powers, and they each have a special power. Like Max can give you health at any time as long as you have enough energy. L gives this like nuke where you hit a bunch of enemies around you. Pretty cool. Tons of special things to find and different side missions to do. Currently playing through it right now and absolutely loving it. Huge fan of the game, so really excited to pick that one up. And last one was a game I had to get. Huge fan of the first one. A little controversial, this game, but I loved it. Last of Us Part 2. This game is amazing. Now, there's no screen capture for this just because I don't want any spoilers, but man, I know some people don't like the story. I absolutely loved it. It's very, very cool. The literary things they brought in with the story is amazing. I highly suggest, there's a video I'll put in the link below, I believe from Girlfriend Reviews, that goes through it, explains exactly why they made the story the way they did. So after you beat the game, go watch it. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description below. It was a fantastic episode. But basically, it's Last of Us. Gameplay's the same. couple different weapons you get, different things you can craft, but otherwise it's generally the same. It's just, I highly do suggest though, do not just go off of reviews. Play the game for yourself, then make your own judgment. Because I absolutely love it. I know people that love it, but I also know people that didn't like it. So, you know, to each their own. But I did get the special edition, which was really cool. Comes with the steelbook and stuff, which I'm a big fan of steelbooks. But so there you go. That's what I picked up in the month of June. Holy crap, was that a lot. But so many fun games. A lot of these games, I mean, I've already beaten or playing currently. So a lot of games I was really interested in. So again, thank you Megadan, Josias, Bandana Gamer for helping me get those games. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking with me for that long. And let me know in the comments below what's the favorite game that I picked up. Have you played any of them? Any tips or tricks for any of them? But appreciate it, guys. And until next time, this is Captain Algebra signing off.